Hello, everybody. It's Joe here, and welcome back once again to my F122 My Team Career Mode campaign. We are now at Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix. If you haven't seen the last one from Spa, I urge you to check that one out before you check this one out. We start off in qualifying with one of the Haas cars, I believe that's Esteban Ocon, going completely wide. That's that's where he went wide. I think he just took too much speed into the corner, and we now demonstrate how to appropriately take that corner instead of driving straight off the circuit. But we're on our first lap of Q1, and as per usual, trying to get through this first part of qualifying. Now, I'm not expecting a big result here. Historically, we have struggled a little bit around this circuit, and I'm expecting no exception here. But if I can just grab a top 5 finish, that would be, for me, somewhat acceptable. On the 2021 game, we didn't always go amazingly here, so let's try and do our best. We managed to nail the first lap and get through Q1. Now it's time to get out of Q2, and wow, that was close to the wall there. But what's this lap going to be? It's, wow, okay, I wasn't expecting that. We've topped it. But in Q3, the weather has arrived, so it's a matter of getting a lap in as quickly as possible and trying to make sure that we stay on the track as well. It's not feeling particularly strong at this point, I'm not going to lie. Look at that, we're 2/10 off of P6, and I'm trying to save what I can going into the final stage of the lap. It's not looking great though. Hamilton is 6th, Albon 7th, Verstappen 8th. I'm thinking if I could just get into P7 at this stage, that might be somewhat acceptable. We're sprinting for the line. What is it going to be? No, it's P9. It's P9, so we are starting from row 5 for the Dutch Grand Prix. George Russell, our teammate, then is on pole, so at least he's helping maximise our points and limit the damage that Charles Leclerc can do this weekend.
For years, the passionate Dutch fans have been easy to find trackside in races across Europe. Here, this weekend, it's even easier to find the Dutch fans as they have a race to call their own once again. A warm welcome to all of our viewers in the Netherlands and around the globe, of course, as we get underway for the Dutch Grand Prix. Zandvoort circuit then, 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with plenty of steep camber and elevation changes to keep our drivers on their toes throughout the 2.6-mile lap. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Sainz, Kevin Magnussen, and Hamilton, Albon, Joker, Ticktum, and Sergio Perez, Latifi, Mick Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhou, and Schwartzman, Tsunoda, Vettel, Max Verstappen, and Felipe Drugovich, Ocon, Daruvala, Stroll, and Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot today. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. With me today, of course, is Natalie Pinkham. Why don't we kick off by discussing Max Verstappen? As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed, they'll be starting out of position today due to power unit component changes. It's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a much more aggressive approach today to make up for that compromised start.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out. cars come back to the grid to line up for the start of the race. Each driver will be wanting to get the best start they possibly can. And they'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium, failing that within the points.
Right, lining up in position here for this Dutch Grand Prix. We got 36 laps of this short circuit. What can we do starting from P9? I'm hoping, like I said, that we can manage to get ourselves into about P5. We move up a position due to penalties. It's lights out and away we go here. We've got a decent getaway, but Albon's got away very well. Look at him down the left as Magnussen and Hamilton are so busy fighting each other. And Perez goes down my inside. He's going to gain a position on me, actually. So we have lost a place there. And we've dropped down to 9th. We're going to try and go around the outside of Perez. But he squeezes me out a little bit. And I didn't have quite the momentum going out of the corner. Tickton might have a little look at me here. But that's not going to happen. We're going to fight him off. And we have done so. So we have lost the place. But I believe that we can gain it back. And struggling then on the first lap, just for apexes, that wasn't quite great there, but at this stage it's all about trying to find and build a rhythm, and we're sticking to the back of Perez. We're going to have a little look here, try and go around the outside. That's not going to be possible. We don't quite have the momentum to do that, but if we can stick with these two, we're going to get a couple of positions here, and again trying to run around the outside there, forcing Perez tight. But Perez manages to keep the position. So it's going to have to be, I think, down the inside into 1, where we're going to have our best shot at getting past the Mexican driver, who is still eyeing Lewis Hamilton for a position. And they've both got what I believe is Magnussen ahead. Russell leading the way then and setting the fastest lap. But I'm having a look down the inside of Perez. Can we do a little bit of late braking here? And we can. Perez having to... well, being forced to the outside there. He gave us the room, and we are up into P8 now. Our next target is Lewis Hamilton. That's a little bit wide there. We don't want to go wide there and then end up potentially falling victim to Perez again. But we're now right on the back of Lewis Hamilton as we come up to the end of lap 5. And once again, I feel like it's going to be a dive down the inside of turn 1 to get ourselves up another place in this race. Here we go then. We're right on the back of Lewis Hamilton. We've got a cheeky bit of DRS to help us through. We go down the inside, and that is P7. Next up is Albon and Magnussen. Albon, one of the big gainers then of this start, because he's moved up from 7th to 5th. And he is now holding that place nicely, and he's holding Magnussen back. And I'm thinking if we can get ahead of them both, that's already good going at this stage of the race. Right, Kevin Magnussen is next. We're going to take a look down the inside, and once again, no fight offered. Although now we've gone a bit deep. Magnussen's trying to have a look to find a way back past again. I'm trying to push on, but I've gone too tight down the inside. We've gone off, and we're off the circuit. And as we come back on, we rejoin into Magnussen, and Hamilton has gone into me. And we've gone round, and that is front wing damage right there. And as I recover, Zhou Guanyu is forced a little bit wide, but I'm back on the circuit again. Tried to hold it out for a couple of laps until we could go on to hards. But guess what? Despite me telling them to fix my wing, they didn't fix my wing. So I'm back out on the circuit with a broken... oh, it was an auto. But you would have thought with it on auto that they would change it if it was broken. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's my mistake then. I thought I had actually set it on to yes. I hadn't. I'd actually put it on auto, but still, the wing was clearly damaged. Why you no fix it? So we're going to have to pit in yet again. And it looked like we ran over a Haas mechanic there. But we go on to soft tyres because I don't have a second set of hards, and mediums by themselves wouldn't go to the end from here, so it's going to be a free-stop race. At this stage, it's just an extended test session. It's all gone horribly wrong for us. So, maximum pace on these tyres. I'm just going to use this, like I said, as an extended test session and just drive, see what we can grab. I'm thinking maybe P15, P16 if we're lucky. Right, we've finally made our third and final pit stop for medium tyres to run to the end. We did have a fresh set, and now we're going to attack Jehan Daruvala straight away. Oh my goodness me, that was quite defensive by the Alfa Romeo driver there, as we now sit in P21, trying to find a way to make something of this race. And we're going to go straight up the inside there. That's not usually a conventional overtaking place, but I'm in no mood for convention here. We are up into P20 now, and it's going to be a bit of an uphill struggle to try and gain positions. We're now on Robert Schwartzman, and I've still got PTSD from what he did to me in Spa, where he pushed me into the wall at Blanchimont. But around the outside we go.
You made it look so
and
easy.
up into P19. Next up is Drugovich and Stroll. And you know what? We're catching some of these really quickly. I really feel like we got some good pace here. And I'm wondering at this stage, what can we realistically get? There's 11 laps left. I'm on the attack. I'm pushing as hard as I can go. What can we grab? First things first, let's get past Drugovich. We've got past Drugovich. Next up will be Stroll, then Schumacher, and then it's a case of, well, who next? What can we do? With the pace we're running, we're catching some of these guys by up to 2 seconds a lap. Meanwhile, we're seeing Dan Ticktum pulling out of the race here. His day is done in the McLaren. Yeah, that's a sad end for him. He was in the points quite nicely, but it's not really gone right for McLaren in this mid-season stage. It's got to be said. Like I said, in the previous race, Magnussen was a championship contender early on, but it just hasn't gone in McLaren's favour at all. It just hasn't manifested into results for them at all. So McLaren falling off the back a bit. Right, we're catching Lance Stroll, and now we're passing Lance Stroll. Again, an unconventional place, but we're up to P16, and look, there are many cars directly in front of us here. This could actually be potential point, maybe. I'm just trying to count the cars and count the position we're in, and I do think that maybe there is a point up for grabs here. We're about to attack and pass Schumacher for P15, and look at that, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 5 cars ahead of us, so there is a point potentially up for grabs here if we navigate this train, which I believe is being led by the Williams of Zhou Guanyu. So incredible after what's been a very messy race with all kinds of disasters happening. There is still a point up for grabs, potentially 2 points, because we have the fastest lap. But we need to get past these guys, and we need to make this happen. So first off, we're going to attack Latifi. He's going very defensive, but we're going to sweep round the outside, and we very nearly take Gasly as well. Gasly quite wobbly out of the corner, but Gasly is not going to be passed there. We're going to have to just wait for our moment to pass Gasly, and I believe this is going to be our moment, because we're going to send it down the inside here. Gasly does not offer any fight for that at all. And now we're up to 13, and with 5 laps to go, it does look like we could squeeze a point out of what has been a horrendous day, but it's not done yet. First off, we need to get past these guys. First off is Tsunoda, and well, he can't fight that off at all. And now we're going to go after Sebastian Vettel here, who is in P11, and we're right on the tail of him. What can we do here? Are we going to try the outside? You better believe that we are. And look at that. We're going alongside him, side by side, in a sector of circuit that you wouldn't expect to see side-by-side racing in. Still side by side here. And I take the inside line, and that is the overtake done. And that is wheel-to-wheel racing at its finest right there. How did we not come together? That was brilliant from the pair of us. But eventually I had the line and Vettel had to succumb. Right, We've now got Zhou Guanyu dead ahead of us, and this overtake I don't believe should be too difficult at all. He does try to cover, but look at the speed we have. It's an inevitability, really, and we break later, sweep round the outside. Zhou's still trying to find a way past, but it's just not happening there. And we are now up into P10 and looking at scoring a World Championship point, maybe 2, if we keep the fastest lap. And that is how we stayed. We did have to lift and coast just a little bit because the fuel wasn't looking particularly high, and I'm still pushing for another fastest lap here. Going wide there isn't going to help my case, but what a race it's been. We damaged our front wing. They didn't change the wing on the stop, so we had to stop again, put on soft tyres, and then make another stop for mediums, and somehow in a 3-stop race of disaster, we are about to claw back 1 championship point. Potentially 2 if we keep the fastest lap. It looks like we're not going to set one on the final lap though. George Russell wins. We grab a point out of this race. How on earth did that happen?
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Many doubted whether they could pull off the win here in Zandvoort, but they've done so in spectacular style. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I feel consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
A show-stopping performance from the 3 drivers approaching the podium right now. It's been an interesting Grand Prix, that's for sure. Let's see what effect this result has had on the
So the
driver's
race didn't go
standings.
Charles
It was not
Leclerc's
the best
way
weekend for
either.
our
He only
championship
managed
leader,
P4, and it was
their
Lando
advantage at the top
Norris
has
in
been
P2
reduced.
who was the
Let's
lead
focus on
Ferrari.
driver of the
So
day, Natalie Pinkham.
that in itself is a blessing for
Often
us,
my go-to
and
would be a driver
that's
who's
damage
managed to pull off
limitation
an
as much as
especially
we could
impressive
do.
feat during the
We
race.
did get the
However,
fastest
in
lap,
this
so we
instance,
scored 2
I was more
points from
impressed
that
by
race.
Max Verstappen's
Charles Leclerc
solid,
only able to
clean
grab
driving
12, so it
throughout
doesn't
the
really
event.
damage us in the
Let's move on to the
championship
constructors.
as much as I
Ferrari
feared,
take
but
the
it's a
lead at the
win
top
for
of the
George
table.
Russell
There is also
and
a
a
strong
podium,
showing
a
from the
brilliant
Mercedes team
podium
today
for
as they
Carlos
make their
Sainz
way
in the
up the standings.
Mercedes.
Been an
And then it's
absolutely wild
Leclerc,
weekend in
Magnussen,
Formula One
Albon,
action.
Hamilton,
Can't wait to
Verstappen,
see what's
Perez,
next.
and myself rounding out the top 10. The Red Bull's surprisingly low in the points there, so Red Bull not going well on a circuit that historically has favoured Red Bull. As we go to look at the standings, let us see the damage that's done. The championship lead that we have is now down to 3 points. 3 points stand between Charles Leclerc and taking the lead. And after a bad result from me, Magnussen has crucially gained a little bit of ground there, but I don't think that's really going to amount to much. I think my big threat is going to be from Charles Leclerc. Lando Norris catching up to Verstappen now, just 1 point behind him. And Sainz as well making some gains in that race. George Russell leaping up to 12th after a second win in a row. Can George make it a hat-trick in Monza next time out? Well, Ferrari gaining more points in that race predictably, and as a result are now leading the Constructors' Championship. This is a very intense championship fight, and every single point is going to matter here. Well, thank you so much for watching this installment of Career Mode. How is the rest of the season going to unfold? I hope you guys are hyped for it. I know I'm hyped for it too. But leave a like and hit the subscribe button if you're new here and you want to see more content from me. Until the next time, I've been Joe, TTFN guys, and ta-ta for now.